Hello, hello, hello. This is Dr. Angelika Christie. Welcome to my show, Radiant Life After 45, Skills for Healthy, Happy, and Prosperous Women. I believe in a world where women are cherished and thrive because the world needs you. Yes. I help you discover and live your unique gift confidently and with pride. With over 25 years of professional experience as a naturopathic doctor specializing in healthy aging, and as a lifestyle and relationship coach, together with my vast personal life experience, I share from my heart and my knowledge. So if this sounds good to you, be my guest here every week on this day, Saturdays at this time, 3 o'clock Eastern time. Yes? Yes. So let's begin. I am traveling, and this is why you see me in a hotel room here. Okay, so in the last episode, I shared with you some of the most devastating emotions and complaints that my clients and some friends share with me. Here is just a little wrapping it up. Here is what they are. They were and they are, what I shared with you the last time. Am I still relevant? Am I still attractive? Am I still lovable? Can I still find joy and happiness at my age? Can I still feel truly confident? Can I still change my life so that I could be fully me? And who is me? Who am I? What do I really want? Is there still hope for me? These are just one of the few questions that, and many others that I shared with you in the last episode. And if you haven't seen it, maybe go there, because it may just trigger something within you to say, yes, that's me as well. And you can get some pointers and some golden nuggets from that last episode. Today, I'm going to do something totally different, something that I've never done before. Today, I'm going to share with you the wisdom from one of my spiritual teachers of almost 40 years. His name is Anthony de Mello. Not many know about this man. He was a Jesuit, but not a Catholic Jesuit. He just embraced spirituality and pulled from all different religions, Buddhism. But I mean, this is not a spiritual, this is a spiritual, but not a religious. I'm not talking about religion here, okay? Never do, because dogma is something that is very particular, and I don't really want to go into this. But Anthony de Mello was a Jesuit priest and spiritual teacher. I believe he had he lived in India as well and had a big center there. And by the way, I mean, I'm Catholic. I was brought up Catholic. I am open to all religions and none. It's just spirituality. It's the gift of recognizing the divine within you, the miracle of everything, of the universe, of life itself. Yes? And the Jesuits actually are kind of the least accepted in the Catholic Church, because they're kind of renegades. And maybe that's why I like them, because I am a rule breaker. I am somebody who does not like rules, and especially not dogma. Okay, so enough said about this. But, you know, I just really got so much pure wisdom that I got from his writings that are a bit challenging. But this is what we need right now. We need to wake up. And this book that I'm going to read from is called, I can show it to you, Anthony de Mello, Awareness. The Perils and Opportunities of Reality. When I got this book, it had a totally different color, and it is so yellowish because it's about 40 years old that I'm so happy I found it on Amazon and I ordered it, and now I have it, which is wonderful. And I made a couple of notes. I hope I find the passages that I want to share with you. I never met Anthony de Mello personally, but his writings impacted and changed my life profoundly. And to tell you the truth, when I read this book the last time and I devoured it, I laughed and I cried. I had so many epiphanies, so many aha moments. It was just so profound. And, you know, and because his insights are so workable, applicable right away. And it really impacted my life in many ways. Sadly, Anthony de Mello died suddenly in 1987. So that's a long time ago. And I think I came across his readings in the early 80s. Yeah, in the early 80s, yeah. But his books and writings are really timeless and even more important today than when I discovered them more than 4 decades ago, or almost 4 decades ago. So in this episode today, I want to share with you some aspects of what Anthony de Mello taught me about waking up, which is a deeper sense of awareness, because nothing can really change unless we become aware of what is. And if what we believe helps us grow or keeps us stuck, because our belief system is really something we develop over time. And it doesn't come from us personally. It comes from everybody and everything around us from when we were little. Yes, that we adopted or that we were told. And so we made it a certain belief system. You and I know that being stuck is a horrible feeling. Being stuck in a way is really against life itself. Life flows and moves. If we don't move, if we don't flow, we actually die. Do you agree with that? Or can you at least fathom that this, yes, is this maybe the first time you hear this, that if we don't move, we die? And we are stuck. If we don't move, we are standing still, right? So the book that I want to introduce to you today is a book that I received at a time in my life when everything had changed and was challenging for me. I had left my home in Germany and I left 2 small children behind when I divorced my husband. I lived already in the Bahamas, trying to get my ex-husband to agree that the children should be with me, their mother. But the German court decided against it. And it was not because of me, but because all the way back then, 45 or more years ago, the Bahamas, at least for that judge, seemed to be just like a place where third world, where he believed German children have no place. So he denied it. And I was, and I was really not certain in this time of pull and push, and I was not certain that I made the right decision, and therefore I suffered. I suffered in silence and in agony. And the book that I'm discussing with you today, in part, is called awareness, right? I already showed it to you, the perils and opportunities of reality. And as I said, I will read some passages from that book to you and see how it lands with you. See what kind of feelings come up for you. Yes? Okay. So let me see, where do I begin? Let me see, the illusions of reward. I made some, what is in your mind, good, bad, or lucky? Self-observation, awareness without illusion. The illusion of rewards. Finding yourself. Okay, I didn't put any markings in there because it's a new book. And so maybe I'm not reading everything that I really wanted to read. But I just opened something and I read from this. Finding yourself. The great masters tell us that the most important question in the world is, who am I? Or rather, what is I? What is this thing I call I? What is this thing I call self? You mean you understood everything else in the world and you didn't understand this? He says. Anthony is speaking in this book here that I'm reading to you. You mean you understood astronomy and black holes and quasars and you picked up computer science and you don't know who you are? My, you are still asleep, he says. You are a sleeping scientist, if science is your thing. You mean you understood what Jesus Christ is or religion is and you don't know who you are? How do you know that you have understood anything? Who is the person doing the understanding? Find that out first. That's the foundation of everything, isn't it? It's because we haven't understood this that we have got all these stupid religious people involved in all these stupid religious wars, Muslims fighting against Jews, Protestants fighting Catholics, and all the rest of that rubbish. They don't know who they are, because if they did, there would not be wars. Like the little girl who says to a little boy, "Are you a Presbyterian?" And he says, "No, we belong to another denomination." That's horrifying. But what I rather like to stress right now is self-observation. You are listening to me, but you are picking up any other sounds beside the sound of my voice as you listen to me. Are you? Are you aware of your reactions as you listen to me? If you aren't, you're going to be brainwashed, or else you are going to be influenced by forces within you of which you have no awareness at all. And even if you're aware of how you react to me, are you simultaneously aware of where your reaction is coming from? Maybe you are not listening to me at all. Maybe your daddy is listening. Do you think this is possible? Your daddy listening to me? I mean, this is Anthony de Mello speaking. Of course it is. Again and again in my therapy, Anthony de Mello therapy, I come across people who aren't there at all. Their daddy is there. Their mommy is there. But they are not there. They never were there. I live now. Not I, but my daddy lives in me. Well, that's absolutely, literally true. I could take you apart piece by piece and ask, now, this sentence, does it come from daddy, from mommy, from grandma, grandpa? From whom? Who's living in you? Have you ever asked yourself that? That was not written. It's pretty horrifying when you come to know that, right? You think you are free, but there probably isn't a gesture, a thought, an emotion, an attitude, a belief in you that isn't coming from someone else. Isn't that horrible? And you don't even know it. Talk about a mechanical life that was stamped into you. You feel pretty strongly about certain things, and you think it is you who are feeling strongly about them. But are you really? It's going to take a lot of awareness for you to understand that perhaps this thing you call I is simply a conglomeration of your past experiences, of your conditioning, of your programming. That's painful. In fact, when you're beginning to awaken, you experience a great deal of pain. It's painful to see your illusions being shattered. Everything that you thought you had built up crumbles. And that's painful. That's for what repentance is all about. That's what waking up is all about. So how about taking a minute right now, where you're sitting right now, to be aware, even as I talk, as I read this to you. So Anthony de Mello is really talking. So even as I talk, of what you are feeling in your body and what's going on in your mind and what your emotional state is like. How about being aware of the blackboard? If your eyes are open and the color of these walls and the materials they're made of, well, blackboard, I think when he was saying this, he was probably in a classroom, but just become aware of the room you're sitting in. How about being aware of my face and the reaction you have to this face of mine? Because you have a reaction, whether you're aware of it or not. And it probably isn't your reaction, but one you were conditioned to have. Interesting, right? And how about being aware of some of the things I just said, although that wouldn't be awareness because that's just a memory now. You see, these are the things that when I read this, I said, oh my goodness, I never thought about it this way. And I hope you have some of these little epiphanies and feelings as well. Okay, so going back to reading. Be aware of your presence in your room. Say to yourself, I am in this room. It's as if you were outside yourself looking at yourself. Notice a slightly different feeling than if you were looking at things in the room. Later, we'll ask, who is this person who is doing the looking? I am looking at me. What's an I? What's a me? For the time being, it's enough that I watch me. But if you find yourself condemning yourself or approving of yourself, don't stop the condemnation and don't stop the judgment or approval. Just watch it. I'm condemning me. I'm disapproving of me. I'm approving of me. Just look at it, period. Don't try to change it. Don't say, oh, we were told not to do this. Just observe what's going on. As I said to you before, self-observation means watching, observing whatever is going on in you and around you, as if it were happening to someone else. You see, then you become the observer, even of yourself. Okay, this was just one little chapter here. I want to share more with you. Arriving at silence, there was something that I wanted to labels. Yes, I think, or I do this here. how happiness happens. I think we all want to know, how does happiness happen? By coming home, or Anthony de Mello says, come home to yourself, observe yourself. That's why I said earlier that self-observation is such a delightful and extraordinary thing. After a while, you don't have to make any effort, because as illusions begin to crumble, you begin to know things that cannot even be described. It's called happiness. Everything changes and you become addicted to awareness. There's a story of a disciple who went to a master and said, could you give me a word of wisdom? Could you tell me something that would guide me through my days? It was the master's day of silence. So the master picked up a pad. It said, awareness. When the disciple saw it, he said, Master, this is too brief. Can you expand on it a bit? So the master took back the pad and wrote, awareness, awareness, awareness. The disciple said, yes, but what does it mean? The master took back the pad and wrote, awareness, awareness, awareness means awareness. That's what it is. That's how to watch yourself. No one can show you how to do it, because he would be giving you a technique, he would be programming you. You have to watch yourself. When you talk to someone, are you aware of it, or are you simply identifying with it? When you got angry with somebody, were you aware that you were angry, or were you simply identifying with your anger? Later, when you had the time, did you study your experience and attempt to understand it? Where did it come from? What brought it on? I don't know of any other way to awareness. You only change what you understand. What you do not understand and are not aware of, you repeat and you repress. You don't change it. But when you understand it, it changes. And Anthony says, I'm sometimes asked, is this growing in awareness a gradual thing, or is it a whammo kind of thing? Straight up into your face. And there are some lucky people who get it and see it in the flash. They just become aware. There are others who keep growing into it slowly, gradually, increasingly. They begin to see things, illusions drop away, fantasies are peeled away, and they start to get in touch with facts. I guess reality. There's no general rule. There's a famous story about the lion who came upon a flock of sheep. You probably know that story. And to his amazement, found a lion among the sheep. I will tell you, I will share it anyway. And you may smile because you know the story already. It was a lion who had been brought up by the sheep ever since he was a cub. I guess his mother, his parents died. It would bleat like a sheep and run around like a sheep. The lion went straight for him, and when the sheep lion stood in front of the real one, he trembled in every limb. And the lion said to him, what are you doing among the sheep? And the sheep lion said, I am a sheep. And the lion said, oh no, you are not. You are coming with me right now. So he took the sheep lion to a pool of water and said, look. And when the sheep lion looked at his reflection in the water, he let out a mighty roar. And at that moment, he was transformed. He was never the same again. You see, That's an epiphany. That's a flash of a recognition, and you have it. If you are lucky and the gods are gracious, or if you are gifted with divine grace, you might suddenly understand who I is, and you'll never be the same again. Never. Nothing will ever be able to touch you again. And no one will ever be able, get this, no one will ever be able to hurt you again. You will fear no one, and you will fear nothing. Isn't that extraordinary? You'll be like a king, like a queen. This is what it means to live like royalty, not rubbish like getting your picture in the newspaper or having a lot of money. That's a lot of rot. You fear no one because you are perfectly content to be no one. You don't give a damn about success or failure. They mean nothing. Honor, disgrace, they mean nothing. If you make a fool of yourself, that means nothing either. Isn't that a wonderful state to be in? Some people arrive at this goal painstakingly, step by step, through months and weeks of self-awareness. But I promise you this, I have not known a single person who gave time to being aware who didn't see the difference in a matter of weeks. The quality of their life changes, so they don't have to take it on faith anymore. They see it. They are different. They react differently. In fact, they react less and act more. You see things you have never seen before. You're much more energetic. You're much more alive. People think that they had, people think that if they had no cravings, there'd be a little dreadwood. But in fact, they'd lose their tension. Get rid of your fear of failure, your tension about succeeding. You will be who? You will be yourself, relaxed. You wouldn't be driving with your brakes on, as we all do when we are overwhelmed and under stress and under tension. We step on the gas pedal and the brake at the same time. This is not in here. But this is what it is, right? That kind of tension that we are under. What if you can just let go of that by what he's saying? There's a lovely saying in Shuangzi, it's a great Chinese sage, that I took trouble to learn by heart. It goes, this is Anthony de Mello speaking again. When the archer shoots for no particular price, he has all of his skills. When he shoots to win a brass buckle, he is already nervous. When he shoots for a gold prize, he goes blind. He sees two targets and is out of his mind. His skill has not changed, but the prize divided him. He cares. He thinks more about winning than of shooting. And the need to win drains him of power. Isn't that an image of what most people are? When you're living for nothing, you've got all of your skills. You've got all of your energy. You are relaxed. You don't care. It doesn't matter whether you win or lose. Maybe sometimes some of you may think, well, of course it matters. If you make it matter, then you also have to accept that you are divided. Yes, you feel tension, you feel nervousness. There is a power within you that wants something in particular, and at the same time it may be afraid that it may not get it. So there is this division which not only drains you of your energy, but it actually lowers your ability, your skill is not as sharp anymore. Think about the archer. It's such a great example. So that's really what life is. When you're living for nothing, you have got all of your skills. You've got all of your energy. You're relaxed. You don't care. It doesn't matter whether you win or lose, as I just said. Now there is human living for you. That's what life is all about. That can only come from awareness. And in awareness, you will understand that honor doesn't mean a thing. It's a social convention, that's all. That's why the mystics and the prophets didn't bother one bit about it. Honor or disgrace meant nothing to them. They were living in another world, in the world of the awakened. Success or failure meant nothing to them. They had the attitude, so this is what he says. So usually I wouldn't say that. But Anthony de Mello says, I am an ass, you are an ass. So where is the problem? And this is why I say this book, it had me laugh so hard. It had me cry. It made me aware of so many things. It had a profound impact on my life. I felt so much burden was taken from me because I got those epiphanies. I could understand it, and hopefully you get some of those as well. Okay, someone said, the three most difficult things for a human being are not physical feats or intellectual achievements. They are first, returning love for hate. Second, including the excluded. And third, admitting that they are wrong. Let me repeat this because that's really profound. Okay, these are the three most difficult things for a human being to do, to get, to understand, and then, of course, to live by. And the first one is returning love for hate. The second one is including the excluded. Think about it. And the third is admitting that you are wrong. But these are the easiest things in the world if you haven't identified with the me. You can say things like, I'm wrong. If you knew me better, you'd see how often I'm wrong. What would you expect from an ass? But if I haven't identified with these aspects of me, you can't hurt me, right? Initially, the old conditioning will kick in and you'll be depressed and anxious. You'll grieve, cry, and so on. Before enlightenment, I used to be depressed. After enlightenment, I continue to be depressed. But there's a difference. I don't identify with it anymore. Do you know that there is a big difference in this? What do you identify with? Because when you don't identify with it, you step outside of yourself and look at that depression or whatever it is, and you don't identify with it. You don't do a thing to make it go away. You are perfectly willing to go on with your life while it passes through you, that depression, whatever it is, and it disappears. If you don't know what that means, you really have something to look forward to. And anxiety, there it comes. Of course you feel it, but you can make a choice. You are not troubled by it. How strange is that? You're anxious, but you're not troubled. Isn't that a paradox? You may think that, right? And you're willing to let this cloud come in, because the more you fight it, the more power you give it. And I mean, we all understand that. What you focus on, you increase, right? Becomes more. You're willing to observe. If you are willing to observe it, you observe it and it passes by. You can be happy in your anxiety. Isn't that crazy? You can be happy in your depression, but you can't have the wrong notion of happiness. Did you think happiness was excitement or thrills? That's what causes the depression. Didn't anyone tell you that? You're thrilled, all right, but you're just preparing the way for your next depression. You're thrilled, but you pick up the anxiety behind that. How can I make it last? That's not happiness. That's addiction. I wonder how many non-addicts here are reading this book or listening to me right now. If you are anything like the average person, they are few. Don't look down your nose at the alcoholics and the drug addicts. Maybe you're just as addicted as they are, just in a different way. The first time I got a glimpse of this new world, it was terrifying. I understood what it meant to be alone, with nowhere to rest your head, to leave everyone free and be free yourself, to be special to no one and love everyone, because love does that. It shines on good and bad alike. It makes rain fall on saints and sinners alike. It is possible for the rose to say, is it possible for the rose to say, I will give my fragrance to the good people who smell me, but I will withhold it from the bad? Of course not. Or is it possible for the lamp to say, I will give my light to the good people in this room, but I will withhold it from the evil people? Or can a tree say, I'll give my shade to the good people who rest under me, but I will withhold it from the bad? These are images of what love is all about. Okay, so those were just a couple of passages that I read from this incredible book. I really recommend it. From Anthony de Mello, Awareness, the Perils and Opportunities of Reality. And I will come back to it in our next episode and maybe read a little bit more and discuss a little bit more. But I hope that this actually has already given you a way of checking in with yourself, you know, so that you see, oh my goodness, yes, I do this. So how can I stop doing what I'm doing? All right. So I actually have some more time in this because I am traveling. The second part of this episode will not be a Q&A session because I'm traveling. So I will continue with the second part as I did with the first, and continue reading a little bit more in here. Would you like that? I hope so, because that's what I'm going to do for the next 18 minutes or so. Okay. Detachment. Let me see. Cultural conditioning at a loss for words. Let me see. I wanted to pick up something. Clinging to illusions. Okay, because we do this so much, clinging to illusions. Anthony de Mello says, when you cling, listen to this, it's right in your face. When you cling, life is destroyed. That's strong, right? When you hold on to anything, you cease to live. one attains this by understanding. Understand another illusion too, that happiness is not the same as excitement. We just heard a little bit about that. It's not the same as thrills. That's another illusion, that a thrill comes from living a desire, that the thrill comes from living a desire that is fulfilled. Desire breeds anxiety, and sooner or later it brings its hangover. Isn't Anthony amazing? When you're when you've suffered sufficiently, then you're ready to see it. You're feeding yourself with thrills because you crave happiness, right? This is like feeding a racehorse with delicacies. You're giving it cakes and wine. You don't feed a racehorse like that. It's like feeding a human being with drugs. You don't fill your stomach with drugs. You need good, solid, nutritious food and drink. You need to understand all of this for yourself. Another illusion is that someone else can do this for you, that some savior or guru or teacher can do this for you. Not even the greatest teacher in the world can take a single step for you. You've got to take it yourself. You see, and this is sometimes what happens to people who get coaches who don't really understand that. They're trying to do this for their clients. And so at the moment, the client doesn't have the coach anymore. The client drops off. And this is not what is supposed to happen. A coach is helping another person to get it him or herself. Here we are talking about women. So to get it herself, to become aware herself and take the steps and do the changes herself, right? The nature of the rain is the same, and yet it produces thorns in the mash and flowers in the garden. It is you who have to do it. No one else can help you. It is you who have to digest your food. It is you who have to understand. No one else can understand for you. If it is you who have to seek, nobody can seek for you. And if you seek it, and if you seek truth, then you must do it. You can lean on no one. You can lean on no one. There is yet another illusion. That is that it is important to be respectable, to be loved and appreciated, to be important. Many say we have a natural urge to be loved and appreciated, to belong. And this may shock you. Anthony says that's false. Drop this illusion and you will find happiness. We have a natural urge to be free, a natural urge to love, but not to be loved. Isn't that totally different from what most teach? Oh, we crave to, we want to be loved, we desire to be loved, we have this need to be loved. Yes, but that creates all of the unhappiness, all of the anxieties, all of the sadness, if we don't get it. So that illusion to be loved and appreciated, to be important, that we have that natural urge to be loved and appreciated and to belong, Anthony says that's false. Drop this illusion and you will find happiness. We have a natural urge to be free, a natural urge to love, not to be loved. Sometimes, he says, in his psychology therapy session, he encounters a very common problem. Nobody loves me. How then can I be happy? And he explains to them, to him or her, you mean you never have any moments when you forget you are not loved and you let go and just be happy? Of course you have. A woman, for example, is absorbed in a movie. It's a comedy and she's roaring with laughter. In that blessed moment, she's forgotten to remind herself that somebody loves her or nobody loves her. She's happy. Then she comes out of the theater and her friend whom she saw the movie with goes off with the boyfriend, leaving the woman all alone. So she starts thinking, all my friends have boyfriends and I have no one. I am so unhappy. Nobody loves me. In India, many of that's Anthony saying in India, because he lived in India, many of our poor people are starting to get transition radios, which are quite a luxury. I mean, you have to remember this is back when he wrote this is over 40 years ago. So everybody has a transistor. You hear, but I don't have a transistor. I guess it's something like a radio. I am so unhappy. Until everyone started getting transistors, they were perfectly happy without one. That's the way it is with you. Until somebody told you you wouldn't be happy unless you were loved, you were perfectly happy. You can become happy not being loved, not being desired by or attractive to someone or anyone. You become happy by contact with, not with God or with yourself, by contact with reality. That's what brings happiness, a moment-by-moment contact with reality. That's where you find the divine. That's where you find happiness. But most people are not ready to hear that. And maybe you are not ready to hear this either. Happiness comes when you are in contact with reality. Isn't that a new idea? It may be new to me, as it was new to me, not anymore, but it may be new to you. Another illusion is that external events have the power to hurt you, that other people have the power to hurt you. They don't. It is you who give this power to them. Another illusion, you are all those labels that people have put on you or that you have put on yourself. You are not. So you don't have to cling to them. The day that somebody tells me I'm a genius and I take that seriously, I'm in big trouble. Can you understand why? Because now I'm going to start getting tense. I've got to live up to it. I've got to maintain it. I've got to find out after every lecture, did you like the lecture? Or whatever you are doing, did you like it? Was it good enough? Do you still think I'm a genius? You see? So what you need to do is smash that label, smash it, and you are free. Don't identify with those labels. That's what, or anything that somebody else tells you or thinks. That's how you experience yourself in the moment. Are you in fact a genius? Are you a nut? Are you a mystic? Are you crazy? What does it really matter? Provided you continue to be aware, to live life from moment to moment. How marvelous is it described in those words? Actually, now comes the gospel. Look at the birds of the air. They neither sow nor reap nor gather into barns. Consider the lilies in the field. They neither toil nor spin. That's the real mystic speaking, the awakened person. So why are you anxious? Can you, for all your anxieties, add a single moment to your life? Can you? No. Why bother about tomorrow? Is there a life after death? Will I survive after death? Why bother about that? Why bother about tomorrow? Get into today. Someone said, life is something that happens to us while we are busy making other plans. That's pathetic, right? live in the present moment. And others after him have spoken and written about that. Yes, the now, live in the now. This is one of the things you will notice happening to you as you become awake. You find yourself living in the present, tasting every moment as you live it. Another fairly good sign is when you hear the symphony, one note after the other, without wanting to stop it. The symphony of life, everything that's going on, because you are part of everything, right? Hugging memories. I still have about 6 minutes to share with you. This new topic ties in very much with what I have been saying and with my suggestion of becoming aware of all the things we add to reality. Let's take this one step at a time. In order to get awareness, you've got to see, and you can see if you have a prejudice, right? Almost everything and every person we look at in a judgmental way. It's almost enough to dishearten anybody. Like meeting a long lost friend. He says, "Hey, Tom," I say, "it's good to see you." And I give him a big hug. Whom am I hugging? Whom am I hugging? Tom or my memory of him? A living human being or a corpse? I'm assuming that he's still the attractive guy I thought he was. I'm assuming he still fits in with the idea I have of him, which my memories and associations have created. So I give him a big hug. 5 minutes later, I find that he's changed and I have no more interest in him. I hugged the wrong person, or better, the memory of what I had for this person. If you want to see how true this is, listen and try it yourself when you have not seen somebody for a long time. And this happens to all of us, right? We are having memories of people. My husband says this sometimes. He said, "Oh my goodness, look how he has aged or she has aged." And I say, yes, and so have I, and so have you. We are constantly changing. As I said before, as soon as you stop, you're dying. And when you're really stopped, then you're dead, right? So life is constantly moving and changing. And our concept of people that we maybe once had in our life and haven't seen for a while, we hold that picture in our mind. And then when we see this person again, immediately we see our image, the judgments, I mean, positive or negative, we have of this person. We cannot see in reality because we are too attached to what we already know, our prejudice, our judgment of that person, and everything we ever experience with that person, or maybe the last bad thing or the last amazing thing will be triggered and comes up, and it really blurs reality. It blurs the true vision, the true seeing. We cannot see clearly. Does it make sense? And I think we can practice that, because we all have judgments, and it of course it comes up, and all the time. I don't know, maybe 1,000 times a day, because we live in our own world of concepts, of beliefs, of things that we have created a relationship with, that we are attached to. You see, and Anthony de Mello says about letting go of attachments, and those attachments have to do with ourselves, how we believe we need to be loved or seen or recognized or cherished, and we believe that this is a need we have, and that need is actually there, but it's a craving. It's almost like if we need it so much, it's an addiction to it, and that because of it, we cannot really be totally free to enjoy ourselves, because we are always on guard. Am I, what is somebody else thinking of me? Am I still in alignment with what I believe this person thinks of me? And it goes both ways. So we are having all of this going on. All of these frequencies are clashing with each other. What if we could just have a new canvas, a totally free and new experience, even when we meet with somebody who we already know? And I believe it's probably something that needs to be practiced, to let go, because it immediately comes in our mind. Whatever happened the last time, or what we think about this person. And then we have to say, stop, and let it all go. And then see with new eyes, as if you have never seen this person, experience, and see what that does. Yeah? Can you do this? Maybe let's do this as an exercise. And now I am really needing to finish our session for today. I hope you enjoyed me reading from this book. I hope you got some aha moments, maybe an epiphany, maybe something. I hope you feel lighter. I hope you could laugh with me. And maybe you totally disagreed with a lot of things, and that's fine too. It doesn't really matter. It's the awareness. Just have the awareness, and ask questions. Ask yourself a question. Am I attached to that? What if I let that go? So anyway, thank you so much for the time you have spent with me today. I know your time is precious, and I honor you. I love you. And if you found this valuable, please also look at the other episodes and come again, maybe next Saturday, when we continue, maybe a little bit more with the incredible wisdom of Anthony de Mello. Yes? Thank you so much. And until I see you.